Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We'll be talking about Mauritius, one of the most beautiful islands in the world, and definitely tops the pile when it comes to the Southern Hemisphere. It has a long and illustrious history, and Apex has been operating in Mauritius for a long time. I'm going to ask my colleagues to shed a bit more light on that. Mauritius traditionally has been one of the largest and most active jurisdictions where foreign investors have been investing in India. And whilst people say, for example, the American investors prefer Cayman or others, because of, you might say, a quirk of economic history or tradition or something that happened, Mauritius did become an absolutely amazing jurisdiction for investing in India, for a variety of reasons. And I've got a couple of my colleagues who have joined me. One, Mahesh, who's from Mauritius, and Neeraj, who's just joined us recently. And they'll be giving us some perspectives as to why we are the preferred jurisdiction for people who are looking to invest in India or in Africa via our presence in Mauritius. Let me start with you, Mahesh. If you can just give a bit of a background and a bit about Apex Mauritius, and tell us why Mauritius when it comes to investments in India and Africa.
Sure. Thank you very much, Dr. Bhaskar. Very happy to be here and sharing my views on Mauritius. So I'm Mahesh Doorgakant. I'm the regional CRM, client relationship manager for Mauritius and the Southern region. And I've been with Apex for nearly 20 years now, ever since Apex started in Mauritius. So Mauritius has been, as you mentioned, a very great place for structuring finance and setting up funds and other entities to be able to invest in India and more in Africa. Since the financial center really launched and started in 1992. So the launch of the Mauritius Financial Center coincided very much with the opening of India as an economy to attract more global flows in those days. Those were the early 90s. So the growth of the two countries have been very much mirrored because of the connections that we have. I mean, we need to realize that Mauritius, as part of its population, has over 60% who are originated from India. So there's a symbiotic connection which happens there. And, so since those days, Mauritius has grown and is still one of the main principal partners of investment into India for various reasons, which we'll cover during this. Africa is the second piece that you mentioned. And Africa, what a lot of people don't realize because of the association of Mauritius with India, is that geopolitically speaking, Mauritius is part of Africa. So Mauritius has got a big edge there. It's part of a lot of African organizations like the African Union, the SADC, the COMESA, all these little bits and pieces which people don't realize at first, but bring that additional value of using Mauritius as a financial center for Africa. On top of that, Mauritius has, geopolitically, we're part of Africa, but we are in the beautiful Indian Ocean, as you mentioned. And that gives us this little disconnection from Africa. So it doesn't expose us as much as the onshore issues which happen in Africa. We have, we have no exchange control, which was one of the items which helped very much in growing Mauritius for India as well. And these are all the little aspects that have helped Mauritius over the years establish itself as a financial center which is conducive to investment into India and now more and more Africa.
Neeraj, you have just joined Apex. And you have, if you will, a rather super regional role when it comes to commercials. And you've been engaged with all your territories. Tell me what about your role and your thoughts about where does Mauritius play a part in your kingdom?
Thank you. So thank you, Dr. Bhaskar. My name is Neeraj Aggarwal. I have joined this firm very recently. My role is of a regional commercial director, but then the principal responsibility is to develop corridors. So let's put it in a different way. Technically, if you look at any investment manager, their objective is to identify where the LPs are and where the deployments needs to happen. And as a true partner, my role is to ensure that if it involves setting up maybe structures in few better jurisdictions, we do that, we run it, we manage it so that the client is able to, or the investment manager is able to deploy the money. Now, when I look at it from that context, Mauritius is the most important jurisdiction that I believe is relevant in today's day and age. Reasons are as follow. One, specific countries where everyone believes that the growth will happen includes India, includes the entire African continent. Mauritius, I think it contributes around 25% of all the money that comes into India. And Mauritius is the only maybe jurisdiction or a country which is kind of no capital controls, but still considered as a part of Africa. In Africa, if someone wants to put money, they definitely don't want the structure to be in Africa because almost all countries have significant capital controls. And hence, Mauritius is sitting on that opportunity, which is fantastic. And second, if you look at the history of Mauritius, it's not something that they're doing new. Let's put it this way. It's not as new as Egypt City. It's something which is there, has been there for some time. From a cost perspective, I'm yet to figure out a jurisdiction which is more efficient than Mauritius. Okay? So if the money will come to these countries, and if a jurisdiction is required for setting up the fund, which has a proven track record and the most cost optimization reason, then I think the future of Mauritius is great.
Let me pick that up. I mean, we are talking about emerging markets. And obviously, India is slightly bigger and richer. Africa is slightly behind. Consequently, the alternative investment funds or other pooling vehicles that we're talking about are relatively small in size. Number two is these funds don't have a very large, let's say, operational base. So necessarily, they are looking for a jurisdiction to pool, which is extremely cost effective, as we have talked about, but don't give me problems. And I think we have alluded to the fact that that Mauritius wins out because it takes off these things. Very cost effective, very stable, lots of new structures, cell company structures, etc., etc. So if I'm going to ask each of you gentlemen saying that you are sitting in front of somebody who wants to set up a new fund, and let's say it's a $50 million fund, which is roughly around the median size, perhaps every other service provider will also say the same thing. But what is the unique thing that you are finding when you're going and speaking to your clients who might be sitting in Nairobi or in Joburg or in Mumbai or in Europe, wherever? How do you distinguish Apex? Why Apex? And why is Apex growing its market share in a place like Mauritius?
Sure. So Apex, when we came into Mauritius about 20 years ago, Mauritius was more of a, what we used to call a corporate jurisdiction. The focus was very much on corporate. So providing the more back office type of services for your day-to-day running. We do that, of course. At Apex, we are a one-stop shop solution. But what differentiated us from the market is that we brought in the fund admin side of things. You see, so what used to happen in the old days is that the fund admin part, which is the part where investment managers are looking more for the value add that a partner like Apex can bring, was being delegated outside of Mauritius and in other jurisdictions, more traditional jurisdiction, to be able to help out the Mauritius funds. But Apex, we brought that in-house. We started that market, and we brought in the expertise. When we started in Mauritius, we didn't just try to look at it locally because we knew that expertise was not available in Mauritius. So we brought in people from other jurisdictions, more mature jurisdictions, including the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, UK, India, to come and sit and work in Apex Mauritius, develop the local talent. And this is what has happened over the past year. So we've developed that pool of knowledge. Added to that, we have brought in technology. I mean, as you know, Apex is one of the leaders in terms of technological development. We want to be ahead of the curve, ahead of the market, and we keep on innovating every year. So by doing all this, we're able to go to the client and propose a solution which they will not get anywhere. You will get online access. You will get, your investors can immediately, wherever they're sitting at a click of a button, have details of where the investment is, how that is evolving in an ever-changing market. So these are the additional pluses that Apex has brought in, has developed to differentiate itself and to set ourselves in a category apart from our competitors, to give us that USP.
Neeraj, the vast majority of our clients in Mauritius are, our clients. So you don't have to sell Apex to them, they already know. But perhaps they don't know all what we can do. So you heard Mahesh talk about his conversations with a client. With your admittedly fresh perspective, what are your thoughts and plans to go after, for example, an existing client who's sitting in BKC in Mumbai and say, we have been servicing your feeder funds now for the past 20 years. For your next sixth fund, we can do the same. But guess what? We can also, what would be your answer be?
So the answer would be very simple that, hey, Mauritius is a nice jurisdiction to pool money, but that's not where you're deploying money. So you're deploying money maybe in Africa, maybe in India, maybe somewhere else. What can I do for you there? Because being present in 53 countries, that's my biggest USP. Because I use technology so extensively, which means the data doesn't flow on Excel files, the data doesn't flow on emails, the data flow within the system. If I'm able to communicate this to my clients and say, hey, and that's what I'm doing, and that's what our objective is, that to meet all the clients and say, hey, are you happy with us? Yes. What can we do better for you? Because you are investing money somewhere, you may have a company, you may have a fund, you may have a vehicle, you may have some requirement for your LPs in some countries, and I have capability everywhere. So what can I do for you? Similarly, when are you raising your new money? What are the jurisdictions that you are comparing? Because sometimes people understand that, hey, everyone is trying to do, let's say, gift city, but what are the pros and cons of gift city? Do they really have compared jurisdictions from their objective perspective? This is something that we will do and we intend to do, and we are doing so that what our partners get is the best information so that they can take the right decision. And whatever decision they take, we work along their partners on the delivery side. That's all.
Great. So before I close, I'm going to ask each of you gentlemen to give your closing thoughts and try and aim it at, if you will, as we said, most likely our existing clients. And also if you can add your aspirations, your world domination plans.
I mean, Mauritius has grown and matured as a jurisdiction over 30 years, and Apex has been there for most of the time, nearly 20 years now. And, coming in late in the game, Apex is now the largest administrator in Mauritius. So you realize the achievement that has happened. And there's a reason behind that. The reason behind that is, as I mentioned before, the people and the technology that we have at Apex and that we can continue to develop. On top of that, we keep on bringing additional solutions. We help in capital raise, as Neeraj has mentioned, and continuing to do these things for our clients is what will get us to the next level and to continue to maintain Apex in its number one position in Mauritius.
Great, thank you.
So I'll just start with my aspiration. The aspiration is every single client that I'm servicing in Mauritius should be serviced by me across jurisdiction wherever they are going. If I'm able to do that, I think we have achieved our objective, and there is no reason why we shouldn't be doing it, because from a technology perspective, from a cost perspective, and from a capability perspective, I don't think there is any other service provider who matches this.
Great. Well, you heard my colleagues talk about Mauritius. It is absolutely an amazing pearl in Apex's necklace of 53 countries, as Neeraj mentioned, and we are planning to invest more and grow it. Look, let's put it another way. If you are thinking about setting up an emerging markets fund, what better place to do that than in Mauritius? From one place, you can actually go in and go for the global south. Look, we are having geopolitical issues. People are starting to sit on cash. The investments is reducing because of tariff wars, geopolitical tensions, etc., etc. Where is the growth going to come from? Emerging markets is a place, but it doesn't mean that you actually have to operate out of a more dodgier jurisdiction. Mauritius is a place which can host your emerging markets funds. It is very well connected. You have got the latest structures. It has got great double tax treaties, a highly educated and literate workforce. Beaches are great, food is brilliant, and our guys are absolutely amazing. I would highly encourage you to reach out to my colleagues, have a chat with them, but more importantly, jump on a plane. Go down there. I've been down there so many times. Go and meet the regulator. Go and meet the Economic Development Board. Meet the local the association. Meet our colleagues, the banks. You will be surprised at what the level of advanced financial markets you are going to find there. And as I said, weather and food are good. Thank you very much. See you in Mauritius.